tf2 is a simple game. Sometimes you get outplayed, and sometimes you outplay people. While I did very skillfully roll for a random crit, it's fair to say that the random crit interaction could be better. For the one who dies, they couldn't have seen it coming, and there's no opportunity for counterplay involved, making their death feel unjustified. Killing someone with a crit can feel unsatisfying too, since there is no skill in randomly doing triple damage. So what if, when your next shot is a random crit, your weapon starts glowing? Your opponent can see that a crit is coming, so they have a chance to react accordingly. You know your next shot is a crit, so it's all in your hands now. If you miss, that's your fault. If you want to fire it at spawn, hoping someone dies to it, that's on you. So that's what we did, and we learned a few things. First of all, this is how the plugin works. For the single fire weapons, it simply starts glowing immediately when your next shot is a crit. For automatic weapons, the weapon first has a dark team color tint for a second, then starts glowing with crits. At this point, the crits are waiting to activate. The player can then spend their crits by firing, which will give them 2 seconds of crits. Players are allowed to wait as long as they want to fire their crit. Otherwise, the plugin perfectly mimics how stock random crits are calculated, including calculations regarding your damage. So, how did it go? The biggest fear people had was the start of an agricultural industry around farming random crits. What if people just fire their guns until they're stacked with crits? While seemingly a massive problem in theory, in practice, it wasn't actually that big of a deal. During setup time, people tried to abuse this by standing at the resupply cabinet and spamming their weapons. This didn't really change much because whenever a red player crits a blue player, they just respawn in a few seconds as if nothing ever happened. Red players can see it coming and have better positioning, so blue crits usually didn't end up doing anything. Blue medics, if they drop or waste their uber for a crit, respawn and build up uber again, so it just culminates into a minor delay. It only seems to impact red medics, who have to be more careful in the first minute of the game. Depending on your opinion on game balance, this might be okay since red team still has a big positioning advantage over blue. Outside of setup, it was a waste of time. You might get super lucky, but most of the time, you were forsaking your team. While you were being literally useless, you could have been actively contributing to your team in that time. So overall, it seemed to be more productive to simply play the game as normal. The only way farming for crits was somewhat impactful was with melee weapons. On the way back to the fight, you could use the downtime to farm for a pocket 195. Personally, I don't think this changes much for most classes, since melee is still melee. The vast majority of kills still seem to happen with a ranged weapon, and it's also the player's fault for allowing someone to get in range to melee them. In regards to the spy, it does seem to be potentially harder to deal with medics. If you look suspicious or fail a stab, instead of having a chance to sneak away, you have a higher chance of instantly being deleted. From playtesting, engineers seem to be too occupied keeping buildings up to farm crits for their shotgun, and they obviously need to use their wrench to repair buildings, so it didn't look like engineers could abuse the plugin to crit spies. And against the sniper, things don't look too different. In this clip, the spy allows the sniper to corner him, and he gets critted. Afterwards, the second spy handles it better by keeping his distance and waiting for a good moment to attack. Besides crit farming, since you had more control over crits, it definitely changed how you play when you had them, and getting random crit kills felt more deserved and rewarding than before. Here are some examples. I rolled a crit and took a risk I otherwise wouldn't have to peek the cart. I was helping a pyro, but deserted him when I got a crit. After rolling a sticky crit, I switched to another weapon to deal with the sentry gun. If I retreated here, I could have lived. I tried to use my crits wisely, but end up dying to a spy I would have shot if I didn't have crits. This Chad just walks out and drops the medic. Glowing weapons definitely enabled players a chance to outplay and avoid crits as well. I see that he rolled a random crit, so I spammed the doorway to make it difficult to get a shot on me. Even though shooting rockets at the pyro is risky, I try to kill them before they can make it up the stairs. But of course, random crits are still random crits. At the end, 71.7% thought the plugin was an improvement over stock tf2 random crits. 60.9% said that the plugin has made them less upset about dying to random crits. 28.3% said that the plugin hasn't changed the way they feel about random crits, and the rest somehow got angrier with the plugin. When asked to pick the option they liked the most, 67.4% said they still prefer no crits, 30.4% said random crits with weapon glows is the best, and 2.2% said they liked default tf2 crits the most. Some closing thoughts. This probably wouldn't be a good addition to the game, since new players would be taught bad habits, and just sit and spawn farming for a crit to get their 1 cheese kill. It looks like the soldier in demo got better because of the plugin, while ambush classes and playstyles got worse. And there's a chance we haven't explored the extent to which melee is broken with the plugin, but we'd have to do more playtesting to find out.
This helps create those rare high moments.
I'm thinking about the emotional reactions that people have. People hate that guy.